Well, hello folks, this is Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Man Cave Studios. And this is the Hobby King Durafly, the Auto-G2 V2, sent to me by Hobby King. Let's get it out of the box and we'll start doing an assembly on it. Alright, first up, we'll go over some of the specs and all that. Good information. It has a rotor. The rotor diameter is 121 millimeters or 2.3 inches. The blades themselves, 822 millimeters, so it's about that wide on the wingspan of the rotors. The runs off a 1300 or a 1500 milliamp 3S. Brushless motor, 800 kV. It's 31.3 inches long. It's 15.43 inches high. Requires 5 channels. Five. And because you have the normal 4-channel control, rudder, elevator, aileron, which is actually the pitch of the level of the rotor, and then throttle. So that's 4. And then you got the auto gyro, the startup of the motor. Has a 20 amp ESC, and the whole thing, I don't know if this is with battery or without suggested battery. I think it's with 720 grams. All right. So it should be very efficient. Take it out of the box. Nice box art on this one. Usually, all right, let's see. We're going to say something. All right, everything, of course, as normal, is packed for you to drop it off the side of the truck. All right, nice little kit. All right, just show you up close. Everything is nice in the kit, not going to come out, and everything is nice and secure. All right, we'll be right. I want to take everything out of the box, and we'll go over the parts individually. All right, once you get everything out of the bag, you'll see you have your 3 rotor blades with, and one is already attached to it, so you're going to use that as a template of how you attach your blades. Of course, you got the main fuselage, and that's your battery hatch right here. Okay, has a 20 amp ESC down there with all your connections, your wires that you need. Okay, and then on the underside, this little hatch here is where you can make adjustments if you need to for your rudder and your elevator and your steerable tail wheel. Okay. Of course, you got your main elevator, vertical stabilizer or rudder. Got both your wheels, landing gear. Now, don't lose these little struts, these little lug nuts, if you want to call them, or what hold the wheels on to the landing gear. Of course, your main drive propeller. And then you got all your nuts and bolts. This is your tail wheel, your pilot helmet, the rotary head, that's that round thing. The very few little screws that you need that hold in the landing gear. And that's pretty much it. All right, let's get to assembly. It looks like we're going to be using a Phillips head screwdriver there, and a Phillips head screwdriver there, with a small nut driver. I'd have to get the size to hold those in. All right, let's get our tools together, and we'll get and change camera positions, and we'll come back and start putting this thing together. All right. First thing you want to do is get yourself a good plane stand, or however way you want to do it. And you're going to want put your fuselage upside down, take something with a hook on it or something, and pull these ESC wires out. Okay. All right. Fish them through there. Okay. And then pull them apart. Pull the ESCs apart from the motor connections like that. Okay. All right. Then go up there, grab your ESC, pull it back a little bit. Okay. See? Pull it out. Okay. What we're going to want to do now is go ahead and get And that way they're completely connected from each other. Okay, and you're going to want to hook the bent part is going to go in this front area here. Okay, and what you may have to do is actually bend the gear a little bit to get it to pop in there. It should just fit right down in there. There we go, there's that side. Okay, there we go. All right, now that's in there. And while you're here, see, we got these wire here. We got, all right, take your screws that came in that baggie and these two retaining clamps, these little plastic clamps. Okay. Get you a nice Phillips head screwdriver, which I have right here. All right. Now you can peel away some of that sticker if you want to, but it's not necessary. Go ahead and put one in there. These are retaining clamps that'll hold down that gear. Should just fit right down in that groove there. Get the other one going. And see this, I'll tell you, putting the thing on a plane stand saves your back from having to stoop. Okay. You get 4 screws, so don't lose them. You only get the 4. Okay. All right, those are in there. Now, while you're here, go ahead and take your wheels. All right, let me back you up just a touch. Okay. Now, you're going to thread these on. Okay. Now see, it's going to spin fine. There you go. Actually, they spin just fine. They must have improved that. Take them little plastic lug nuts, if you want to call them that. Screw them on. Okay. And get your fingers to work just right. Now those aren't going to come off. All right. Now, let's go ahead, take your ESC that you had out. Okay. Okay. You're going to want to see that trough down in there, those perforations. You're going to want this ESC to fit straight in there with the wires coming through the opening up front there. You're going to want them to come out there. Okay, so let me fish that through. That might take some doing. Let me fish that through and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm all done. All right, got the ESC all fished through. Go ahead and plug in your 3 ESC leads again, from ESC for the motor. It doesn't matter what order you put them in. The way these ESCs work, if it's not going the right direction, just unplug 2 and plug them back in. Plug them back in differently. Let's go ahead and we'll test that. Just to be, need a servo tester to test it. Okay, I'm going to leave them out. I'm going to grab my ESC lead, okay, and a servo tester. Hold on just a moment. As you can see, if I turn, give it some throttle, it's turning this way. It's going counterclockwise, which is what I want it to do, because I want it to turn that blade that direction. Okay, so now we know we got them hooked up right. Alrighty, Now we know we got the ESC in there correctly, and we know it's hooked up right. So now we can just kind of shove them wires back in there so they're not poking out. And you can see that ESC is now in there underneath that trough. Okay, let's turn our attention to the back half and putting on our rear espionage, empennage, whatever you want to call it. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to slide on your elevator first and then glue in your vertical stabilizer. Okay, so you got these clamping systems here. As you can see, you need to loosen them up a little bit. Don't do them all the way, just enough to loosen them up. It's got to fit over this hub, over this shaft here. All right, I've got that on there, but before you absolutely clamp that down, okay, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to see, okay, see the end. You're looking at focusing on this here, and then the level of this to make sure it's plumb. And as you can see, I don't really necessarily have it perfectly plumb. So before I'm going to look down the shaft here, and I'm making sure the level of this is level with the bottom of the fuselage here. So before I clamp it down for sure completely, I want that to be pretty level, almost perfect. Okay, that looks pretty good. If you look right down, that looks pretty good to me. Now that's in there. That looks pretty good. So while we're here, I went ahead and pulled one of the two rotor push rods up here. Okay, because it's going to, on the underside here, because it's going to hook up to the tail wheel. So what you're going to want to do, get yourself a little bit of glue. Good old Chinese glue. White tube glue is always great. Just don't get it on the moving mechanism. Slide that in to the end of your... You know what? How much you want to bet I'm supposed to, before I anchor that down? Oh no, it'll go in there. Yeah, all right, that's in there now. Okay, just let that glue dry. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just turn this sucker over, okay, to the upside, okay. The rudder side is going to hook over here. This is just going to set down in there like that. Let me go ahead and test fit it real quick. It's got some little indentations there to show you how it goes. Okay. That's going to fit in there just like that. Okay. Let's go ahead and get some of this Chinese glue here. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, got a lid here somewhere. There it is. Okay. That's the best glue. It's sticky, which is a good idea since it's glue. Okay. And it kind of just sits right in there, just as pretty as you please. And it actually touches the shaft. That's why I put some glue on the underside of that shaft there. Okay, because it actually touches that shaft there. All right, so now, while all that's drying, we can turn our attention to the rotors. All right, now you've already got one hooked up for you. Okay, put the prop over there. So you're going to have to remove the screws. Okay, now you got a backing plate on the underside of that, so don't lose that. Let's go ahead and have your magnetic tray ready to go, okay, to catch them screws. We'll undo one. Okay. I'm just going to fast forward to it. Now, when this drops, you've got a small screw and a flathead washer. Okay, so just pull that out. What should drop out, keeping your finger on the underside. Okay, that plate there. Okay, now in this plate here, the underside are the two set screw, are the two nuts that are already in place in hexagon shaped housing, so you don't want them to come out. So go ahead and push that back into place like that, keeping your finger under it. Okay, take this top plate that just came out. All right, kind of sandwich it back on there, holding everything in place. Grab your blade. Okay. All right, take the blade with the washer on it. Let that fish down through there. Okay. Now the other washer came off this screw, so I got to get that. This is kind of tedious. It would be nice to have someone helping you. Okay. Putting that washer back on that screw. Dropping this washer and screw down into the blade here. The blade head. Okay. You see you got these screws now? Alright. Kind of put your thumb on top of that, and you got to fit all that through this whole sandwich material. Okay. It's all got to fit through there. Through that first one. Okay. Through the next one. You're going to have three places you're going through. That back plate. The main rotor head itself. Okay. Set it down. Might have to, all right, fit it through the second half there. There's your holes. Okay. That's all going to line up together. All right, now it's through there. It's through there. Okay. Now we're going to take this. It's got them nuts in there. Line that up. Okay. Keeping my finger on the back side so those nuts don't come out, because they're being held in place in a shape, in the octagonal shape. Now I can start anchoring them down. So you're taking screw, going through there, and going to a metal nut that's being held in place. So you can anchor it down a little bit. I mean, don't go crazy. You don't want to strip it out, but you don't have to be dainty about it either. All right, while you're here, go ahead and tighten up all of them. Once you got them all on there, tighten the one that was on by the factory. Okay. Now, while we're here, let's talk about balancing this. I'm going to show you just a very simple, effective, cheap way of balancing a prop. What you're wanting to identify is what blade is heavier. So I'm going to put this screwdriver here. I'm going to slide the hub on here, and I want to see which blade is heavier, which blade it favors. Okay. Okay, so it looks, so far it's that blade there. So if I take this blade here and put it up, let's see if it goes back to it. Of course, I should have my tape ready, but I don't. Still wants to favor this blade here. This blade is closest to me right here. This one here. This one here is the heavier blade. So I'm going to put it all the way up. And sure enough, start to come up, is dangling back down. So that means one of these two I need to put a little bit of tape on. All right, so I know the heavier blade is pointing out. All right, I'm back. It's got some Scotch tape. I know that heavier blade is pointing out. So I'm going to take 2 pieces of Scotch tape. And I'm going to start putting on this blade. That's the heavier blade. Just keep track. Okay. Okay. That's the heavier blade. I'm keeping track of it. This is the blade I put the tape on. Okay, let's move the blade, that heavier blade, all the way up, which is right here now. Look at that. It's just want to hold its position. Okay, and this is just a process of elimination. Okay, so now I got the tape blade. I'm going to add a couple more pieces of Scotch tape to the end of this blade here. Folks, this isn't rocket science, okay? You're just wanting it to not favor any one blade. That's all it is. You just want it to be able, no matter how you put it on here, it'll keep that position. It won't automatically go to one blade or the other. So that's all there is to balancing a prop. Alrighty, got the blades all balanced. Had to add a little bit of tape to 2 of the blades in order to get them to balance right, but it's pretty balanced right now. We'll know right away as soon as I start it up. But then the blade, the side that doesn't have the markings, goes on the hub up here, slides on there. It's very obvious. Then you take this piece here, it's a round disc. Okay. It just screws on there like that. Keeps the thing from coming off. Okay. Take this is your hatch. Goes right in there, top of it, like so. Now this is a pilot. Now what you can do, he has like a little visor there. You can take a little Sharpie and just glue that right on the top there, which I'll do that in just a moment. I'll do that off camera, but that's what I'll be doing. You will take a prop. Now the prop has a hexagon shape there. FBI calls that a clue. Okay. Then you just take your hub. Now this is just hand tight because you're just holding that prop against there is all that's doing. Okay. And then by holding, and then that prop, that looks pretty good. All right. And that basically is the very basic build. Not a setup, but the basic build of the Auto-G2 V2 from Hobby King. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I'm just going to install a receiver and then we'll go over rates and all that stuff after the maiden. There you go, folks. Thank you so much for watching. God bless y'all. Thank you, Hobby King, for sending this out. And the next time you see this, we'll have it out in the field, and hopefully I won't crash it because I have never flown anything like this before. But I'm very good, not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm very good at coordinated turns with a regular airplane. And if you can do that, then you can do this easily. All right. God bless y'all. We'll see you later. Hobby King, thank you once again. We'll see you later.